Photograph leaders, welcome back to my channel. We're back in Georgetown Thursday morning on Crown Street in Queenstown. That's Crown Street. Crown Street in Queenstown. We're taking a look at how the city is changing, particularly in Queenstown. Last 2 days we looked at Anira Street, which is north, 2 streets north of Crown Street, and then we looked at Laluni Street, which is the next street. On Irving Street, across is Virginia Road, and here we're just looking at this new building. I saw this building going up a few months ago, and now it turned out it is a government building. It's the Criminal Investigations Department. This is the CID, the new office of the CID, Criminal Investigations Department, here on Blessingen Road. So they used to be out near by the seawall in Kingston. That's Survival Supermarket. And showed you yesterday, they actually occupy the building next door as well. Behind this truck it says Survival. So Survival Supermarket on Blessingen Road, and that's Irving Street. This is a parking lot full of police vehicles. Turns out this is the parking lot for the CID, Criminal Investigations Department. This is Irving Street, as you can see from the sign. And what we're going to do is take a look at how things are changing here on Crown Street in Queenstown. This lot is empty, but now apparently there's a sign that says for rent, which means that they're probably going to tear the structure down and make it into a parking lot, or maybe they're going to build something new there. This is a newly renovated house in Queenstown. So this is what Queenstown architecture previously looked like. This was Colonial Architecture, right, with the open veranda in front and the jalousies, these wooden windows in the side. That was pretty much what everything looks like in Georgetown, old colonial architecture. You can see it in some of the older homes. This one probably was renovated into a concrete structure, but they kept the windows, which are wooden. Alright, so that was the typical home in Georgetown back in the 1960s and the 70s when this community was built. Well, actually it's probably older than this. Queenstown is probably as old as 100 or 150 years old. But that's what old Queenstown looked like, and this is what the renovated Queenstown looks like. So this one is probably renovated a couple of decades ago, 20 years ago. And this is what it looks like now. Right, this is the old Queenstown giving way to the new Queenstown. That building behind this empty lot is a renovated multi-unit condominium, and across there is the Demerara cricket ground. That is where cricket was played in Georgetown. Now there are a number of cricket grounds, must be a dozen or more. Cricket used to be a very big sport here in Georgetown. This is Peter Rose Street. We've seen this street, Peter Rose Street. And at the corner here, there is a private school. It's now called Valmiki College for Business and Technology. Crown Street. So, and that's a car dealership. Right, that blue building is a car dealership. And next to it is the bakery, which you've seen yesterday. That's the Humphreys Bakery. So this is Crown Street. This is the Demerara cricket ground behind this wall. Probably take a look on the inside once we take a look at Lance Gibbs Road, or Lance Gibbs Drive tomorrow. But this is what Queenstown is becoming. This is old Queenstown, and we're going to show you some new buildings coming up as the renovation wave takes hold of Queenstown. So these buildings are probably 50 years old, certainly in their design and their architecture, but the newer buildings are going to look like the one coming up on the right hand side. And apparently somebody's building another taller building behind these trees. So what is happening is that the city, especially in these neighborhoods, need to go up to create space, because the lots are small, right? These are relatively small lots. So the footprint of, in fact, this is very large compared to what other lots are we saw yesterday in Albertown. So Queenstown has some fairly large lots inside the city, but this is what's happening. Now you're going to have to go up taller to get the same space. This one is New Garden Street. We looked at New Garden Street before in a previous video. So the lots tended to be larger here in Queenstown than in, say, Albertown or Laceytown. But this is what is happening. To be able to get a large building built, you need to go up. This one is now about 4 stories tall, at least in the front. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 stories tall. Yep. Could be a commercial building or a residential building. I'm not sure. Number of vehicles at this time of day suggested it's a residential building. But that's what's happening. They're building these buildings taller. This is typically what we had in a neighborhood: a residential building, a house, a home. And even when it was renovated for single family, tend to be about the same size because it's restricted by the lot, the size of the lot. This one says Eagle Resources, so I think it's probably morning. There's also bigger vehicles. This is what is an American vehicle. So Royal Jordan and Associates. This is in fact the size of building that is being built now. Like I said, the lots tend to be pretty large. That's impressions here, large compared to elsewhere in the city. And so this building, now 4 stories tall, is very large compared to what was here previously. Somebody else is building a tall building in the background there, that the frame is going up. But this is typical size for a building in Queenstown. This is what they renovated, say 20 years ago, to be 3 floors, and of course now it's getting even bigger. On this side you see there's one with 3 floors. This one is new, it's going up, still being constructed. Looks as if it's going to be a residential building, but it's already quite large compared to, say, the one next door, which was a typical size. So the buildings are getting larger. This one, for example, 3 floors, residential building. And then there's a school. We're now at the corner of Oronoque Street. Alright, so on Oronoque Street there are a number of new buildings also. Might have seen Oronoque Street in the previous video. But here we are. Bigger, taller buildings going up here in Queenstown, replacing what used to be single-family homes. This is a school, St. Gabriel's Primary School, here in Queenstown. One of a number of Queenstown schools. One of a number of schools in Queenstown. I'd say at least half a dozen schools here in Queenstown. We're on Crown Street in Queenstown, looking at how the city has changed. This one is not newly renovated, like 20 years ago, but they already built bigger. This one, Purple House, There's also a business, and they are larger too. 140, this was typical size. You see the jealousies? This one has wooden windows like we had in the 1950s and the 60s, the heyday of colonial architecture, but then it was replaced by this in the 1980s and 90s. So the architecture is changing from colonial to kind of 1980s, or was modern in the 1980s, to now bigger, huge, gargantuan, in some cases monstrosities. This, for example, is I think a government building. Don't remember exactly what goes. This is a new school. This used to be the St. Gabriel's Nursery School. Just completed, in fact, about a week ago. This one is St. Gabriel's Nursery School. Over here is the Guyana Gold Board. Yeah, it's the government building. The Guyana Gold Board does most of the gold transactions. All gold is to be sold to the government of Guyana, and they handle all of those transactions. This is a restaurant at the corner of Albert Street and Crown Street. Now Albert Street marks the end of Queenstown, so looking back, that's Queenstown we've come from. This is the new nursery school, St. Gabriel's Nursery School. Alright, that's the new St. Gabriel's Nursery School. This is the Mirage Banquet Hall. So this is quite large, but it's in Albert Town now. So that's Queenstown. That's Queenstown. This is the new St. Gabriel's Nursery School here in Queenstown. I don't know if you can see, you can't read the sign. Anyway, it says St. Gabriel's Nursery School. And they built this in the last, completed it about a week ago. So they're still not finished removing the debris, construction debris. This is a new, well, not new, this is a restaurant that they actually built bigger in the last 10 years. But right now we're in 3rd Street in Albertown. This is 3rd Street, Albertown. Now you notice there's a pavement, there's a sidewalk. This is what the old sidewalk used to be. People park on the sidewalk now because, of course, society has become much more lawless. Nobody observes the laws anymore. Global healthcare supplies. Global healthcare supplies. So that's a commercial building, a renovated building that now occupies that once residential location. This is also another commercial building. Alright, that's another renovated building that you see the form factor, the narrowness and the tallness is what replaces what used to be these single family homes are now becoming commercial buildings. But like I said, this is what the sidewalk used to look like in Georgetown. Not very many streets had sidewalks, but this one, 3rd Street in Albert Town, was distinguishable because it has a sidewalk, and so it tells you people know how to build sidewalks in Guyana. But now, of course, they don't build them this way anymore because there are no building regulations to enforce how sidewalks are built. So what you're building now is, well, for want of a better word, crappy construction. Sidewalks had gutters and curb cuts, and this was like way back in the 1960s. Alright, these sidewalks go back 50 years or more. So they know how to build sidewalks, they just don't build them that way anymore. This is Albert Town. This is 3rd Street in Albert Town, and like I said, some of the lots are now vacant because the homes have been, a lot of the people migrated and went to live abroad during the last 50 years. But these lots are now prime real estate because they are in the heart of the city now, and If you want to have a business, then this is prime location for setting up your business. 3rd Street in Albertown is one of the wider streets, one of the wider residential streets in Albertown. This is a Light Street, just past Albert Street. This is Light Street. And you can see there are taller buildings going up in every direction. That's Light Street in Albertown. That's looking back along 3rd Street. On this Thursday morning, St. Ambrose Primary School over here in Albertown. They even have a dress code. This is residential, now fully, it used to be completely residential. There were no businesses in this neighborhood, but now they are. That's the Bible Society, and these are what residential buildings used to look like back in the day. It's the Atlantic Cable TV network over here. There's a Head Start Nursery School over there. And this is it, guys. So we approach the end of 3rd Street in Albertown. Again, people parking on the sidewalk because there are no laws against this anymore. Or there might have been laws in the past, but they're not enforced. This is also an old colonial building, and they're actually being rapidly replaced and renovated, particularly as the demand for land in the city gets greater and greater because of, you know, the Guyana oil rush, the black gold rush, and the money that flows into the country because of oil and gas. All of these places eventually are going to become commercial buildings because people doing commerce have the money to buy them up and tear down and rebuild commercial buildings in their place. This building, for example, or what used to be a building here, is probably going to go very soon. One next door is being built. Right, there's a building next door. A new building is being constructed next door to it, to this empty lot. This is the end. That's Cumming Street. So that's it, guys. This is Albertown. We've just come all the way from Crown Street, and now we're at the end of Crown Street, at the end of 3rd Street in Albertown. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. In the comments below, let me know what you think about the changes here in Georgetown, Guyana, in Queenstown and Albertown, Crown Street and 3rd Street in Georgetown, Guyana. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later!